Today's October 26th. Today's quote is entitled Expectations. Expectations are unsigned contracts. That's a quote. That's all it is. So what does that mean? Okay, let's say I have an expectation. I want you to act in a certain way. I never told you I want you to act this way. You don't know. And still I'm expecting you to act this way. It's a contract, but it was never signed. It was assumed. So I'm assuming, well, of course you should act this way because this is your position, or you're representing something or someone or some level of integrity, or you're supposed to be representing some level of leadership or some level of example of Krishna consciousness. But it was never stated between us two. It was just assumed. And so I may not have assumed what you have assumed, and therefore I can be acting in ways that let you down. Although what I may be doing may not be wrong, or in a sense I may be perfectly representing my position and my duty. But because you have an expectation which may not be aligned with what I'm supposed to do, or perhaps an expectation that is far, far beyond what anyone in that position would be expected to do, you get let down. So we have to be very careful about expectations and assumptions, because when we have expectations or we make assumptions, then we're just setting ourselves up for possible problems. Now, the reason I'm presenting this is because I have seen, and I'm sure all the gurus have seen, that many people, when they take a guru, they have certain expectations which are not expressed to the guru, and if they were, in some cases, the guru would say, no, that's not what I do, or that's not what I can give you. And many times, a devotee may wrongly think, once I have a guru, or once I take initiation, everything becomes easy. Everything becomes magically easy. But it's not exactly like that. It's not like the guru just does everything for you, or just by surrendering, it just happens, and mystically it happens. Or that the guru should be a certain way to you, or should be like a father, or somewhat like a husband, or someone like a specific kind of friend, or should give you a certain amount of time, or maybe he should be your psychiatrist, or maybe he should be the one you go to with every practical question. Maybe he should, but you don't know if you don't ask him. And in many cases, they will tell you, no, that's not what I do. Maybe in some cases they will say, yes, this is what I do. I like to do this. I want to do this for my disciples. In some cases, they'll say, no, that's not my position. I don't marry anybody. I don't give therapy to anybody. It's not that I make everyone feel really special and give lots of attention. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe that's not the way he sees his role. One guru had said, I heard in a lecture, he said, what I'm trying to give you, my disciples, is Siddhanta. I want you to go very deep in the philosophy. As far as your personal problems and issues and emotional quagmires, etc., he said, I don't see my role in that position. Now, another guru may see himself in that way, that no, he does want to help you with your personal problems. And maybe he feels that's even more important than giving you Siddhanta. So every guru is different. And so to assume that every guru should be one way, or even to assume that every guru should be a certain way in which no guru would set you up for a lot of heartbreak. And you have your hopes set up that he's going to be this way, or get you married, or treat you like a father that you never had, and so forth, and he doesn't. And he's not doing anything wrong, but you get disappointed. And it's dangerous, because if you get disappointed, it can cause you to become offensive and give up Krishna consciousness, or maybe make you realize that you have the wrong motive, you're approaching it in the wrong way. So expectations are really important. I'm just giving this example in relation to guru because it's common. But in relation to husbands and wives, I expect my wife or husband to be a certain way or to give me certain things, and they don't, because they can't, or it's not their position to do it. I meant to give it to myself. then we suffer because we expect them to give it to us. And a lot of times it's a weakness on our part that we would expect them to give it to us when it's not really their position. Or we expect them to make us happy. And if I'm not happy, it's unlikely anybody can make me happy. Or maybe they can make me happy temporarily, but they can't always make me happy. And if I depend on someone to always make me happy, I'm in a very weak position. So we have to be careful with assumptions and expectations, especially expectations that have never been negotiated. Now, if you negotiate an expectation, say, I want to accept you as my guru, as my husband, as my wife, as my temple president, or whatever it is, these are my needs, will they be fulfilled in this relationship? Then you give them an opportunity to express that. They may say yes, they may say no, this is the limit of what I can do, this is how I see my job, or this is how I do my job. And then you can decide, do I want that person as my husband or my wife, as my boss, as my guru, as my temple president, whatever. So, some important considerations. Expectations are like unsigned contracts, unless you talk to the person and the person agrees.